Americans spend over $3.65 billion a year on mosquito control, and most of it doesn't work the way you'd think. Researchers at Michigan State University proved why. Mosquitoes don't lose to chemicals, they lose to airflow. Last July, I built a trap from a $20 box fan and a $3 piece of window screen. The next morning, the screen was black with dead mosquitoes, hundreds of them. Total cost, $8. The pest control industry will never tell you about this trap, because if you knew, you'd never write them another check. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to build it and the science that makes it work better than a $400 fogging service. First, you need to understand how mosquitoes actually find you. They don't see you, they smell you. Every time you breathe out, you release a trail of carbon dioxide, and mosquitoes can pick that up from 50 yards away. Every time you sweat, your skin releases lactic acid, and they follow that scent like a hound on a trail. That's how they find you in the dark, from across the yard, through bushes, around corners. Here's where most people get it wrong. Back in 2002, two researchers at Michigan State, Hoffman and Miller, ran an experiment that changed everything we thought we knew about fans and mosquitoes. The old idea was that a fan beats mosquitoes because the wind is stronger than they are. That's not quite right. What Hoffman and Miller proved is that a fan beats mosquitoes because the moving air scatters your scent. The carbon dioxide from your breath, the lactic acid from your skin, the fan blows the trail in every direction at once. The mosquito can't follow what isn't there anymore. It's like wearing an invisibility cloak made out of wind. The mosquitoes are still around. They just can't find you to bite you. And the numbers are remarkable. In field studies, even a light breeze of 1 to 2 miles per hour, slower than a casual walking pace, cut mosquito landings on a person by about half. And it dropped trap catches by up to 75%. Either way, wind makes a dramatic difference. This isn't folk wisdom or something my grandfather told me. This is peer-reviewed science, published in the Journal of Medical Entomology. You might be wondering, okay, the science sounds great, but is my old fan really strong enough? The answer is going to surprise you. In that Michigan State study, the researchers didn't crank the fan up to full blast. They ran it on the lowest setting, and they even taped a filter across the front of it, which cut the airflow even more. The actual breeze reaching the person sitting 5 feet away? Just a light puff about 1.3 miles per hour, slower than you'd walk to the mailbox. But here's the kicker. A standard 20-inch box fan, the kind you can pick up at Walmart or Home Depot for $20, moves far more air on its lowest setting than what those researchers needed to keep mosquitoes off the human subject. Even after you zip tie a mesh screen to the back of it, which slows the airflow down a bit, you've still got plenty of power to spare. So that old box fan sitting in your garage collecting dust? It's not just strong enough, it's way more than enough to protect your whole patio. Let's talk about money. A professional mosquito spraying service for your yard, the average cost in 2025 is $350 a season, and it can run up to $1,000 if you've got a larger property or a premium package. That's not me making numbers up. That's straight from UNGI, the home services price database. A single one-time treatment runs $75 to $200 depending on your yard size. And here's the part nobody tells you up front: they don't come out once. They come out 7 to 12 times every season. Once every 3 weeks, all summer long. Why so often? Because the chemical they're spraying, synthetic pyrethroid, only lasts 1 to 3 weeks before the sun breaks it down and the rain washes it off your leaves. So you're paying $400 for 3 weeks of protection. Then you call them back. Then you pay again. That's not a flaw in the product. That's the business model. Meanwhile, that $20 box fan runs every night. No reapplication, no phone calls, no invoices in the mail. A roll of mesh screen lasts the whole summer. Your total cost for the season? Under $15 in electricity. All right, let's actually build this thing. You need exactly 4 things. 120-inch box fan, any brand. A piece of fine mesh old window screen works perfectly. Or mosquito netting from the hardware store. A handful of zip ties or some large binder clips. And a small bucket or shallow pan that can hold water. If you're buying everything new, you're looking at about $25 total. If you've already got the fan in your garage, more like $8. Step 1. Cut your screen. You want it about 2 inches larger than the face of the fan on every side. That extra material gives you something to grab when you're tying it down. Don't use thick fabric or a towel. The fan needs to pull air through the mesh. If it's too dense, the fan can't breathe, and the whole thing stops working. Step 2. Find the intake side of the fan. This is the most important part of the whole build, and it's where almost everybody gets it wrong. Turn the fan on. Hold a thin piece of paper near each side. The side that pulls the paper toward it, that's the intake side. The side that blows the paper away, that's the exhaust. You want to attach the screen to the intake side, the side that sucks air in. Why does this matter? Because the intake side is where the fan pulls mosquitoes toward it. The screen catches them and holds them there. If you put the screen on the wrong side, the airflow pushes them away instead. Same fan, same screen, same setup, but it doesn't work. So check this twice before you tie it down. Step 3. Set the water bucket behind the fan. Place your bucket or shallow pan about 2 feet behind the intake side of the fan. This is your bait. Female mosquitoes are hardwired to hunt for standing water. That's where they lay their eggs. The bucket pulls them toward your trap. They fly toward the water. The fan's airflow catches them, and they end up pinned to the mesh long before they ever reach the water. But here's something important. Never leave that water bucket sitting overnight without dealing with it. Either dump it out in the morning or drop a bee tie dunk into it. I'll come back to BTI at the end of the video. It's a key part of the full system. If you forget about that bucket, your trap turns into a mosquito nursery. You'll be making the problem worse, not better. Step 4. Put the fan in the right spot. Don't set it up right next to where you're sitting. Remember that water bucket is bait. If you put bait next to your chair, you're inviting mosquitoes closer to your legs. Instead, place the fan between you and wherever mosquitoes hide during the day. Along the fence line, near the bushes, under the edge of the deck. Those shady, damp spots where they rest until dusk. Turn the fan on about 30 minutes before sunset, before the mosquitoes start coming out to feed. That way your trap is already running when the first wave hits. One safety note before we move on. Since this fan is running outdoors all night, use a properly rated outdoor extension cord and plug it into a GFCI protected outlet, the kind with a reset button you'd find in a bathroom or kitchen. Keep the fan under cover from the rain. Keep the plug off wet ground. And if a storm's coming through, bring the fan inside. This is a backyard tool, not a permanent outdoor fixture. If you live in the deep south, I know what you're thinking. Buddy, the mosquitoes in Louisiana would laugh at your little fan. I hear you. The mosquitoes down on the Gulf Coast are bigger, meaner, and there's a lot more of them. If you live in Louisiana, Florida, coastal Texas, or anywhere along that strip, you're dealing with a whole different animal. But here's why this trap still works for you. And it's all in the science we already talked about. Remember, the fan doesn't beat mosquitoes because the wind is too strong for them to fly through. The fan beats mosquitoes by breaking up the invisible trail of breath and sweat she's using to track you down. A Louisiana mosquito, the size of a quarter, still hunts the exact same way as a Michigan mosquito, the size of a pinhead. She's still using her nose, still tracking the same carbon dioxide and lactic acid from your body. Doesn't matter how big or aggressive she is, if her nose can't find your trail, she can't find you. That box fan throws a column of moving air about 6 to 10 feet long. Inside that column, your scent gets broken apart and blown in every direction. The mosquito can fly right up to the edge of it, but once she crosses into that airflow, she's lost. She doesn't know which way to turn. She doesn't know where you are anymore. If your yard is bigger than a small patio, here's my one piece of advice for heavy mosquito country. Use 2 fans instead of 1. Put one on each corner of your seating area. That covers a wider zone of disrupted scent, and you've still spent less than what a single round of professional spraying would cost you. 2 fans, $40 total. 1 spray treatment, $200. You do the math. Real quick, if this video is helping you out, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I post one of these every week. All backyard solutions under $30. No sponsorships, no $400 gadgets I'm getting paid to push. Just stuff I actually use in my own yard. That actually works. If you're 55 or older and you just want to enjoy your backyard again without spending a fortune, this channel is for you. All right, back to it. Let me be specific about the things the pest control industry sells you and why they don't work. First up, the bug zapper. You know the one. That blue glowing light with the zap, zap, zap sound that makes you feel like it's earning its keep. Back in 1996, a researcher at the University of Delaware named Dr. Douglas Tallamy decided to actually count what was in those zappers. He ran them all summer long, then he opened them up and counted every single body inside. Out of nearly 14,000 dead insects, guess how many were mosquitoes? 31. That's it. 31 mosquitoes out of 14,000 bugs. That's 0.22%, less than a quarter of 1%. So what was the other 99.78%? Moths, beetles, harmless midges, and worst of all, the beneficial bugs. Honeybees, predator wasps that eat garden pests, lacewings, the exact insects that pollinate your flowers and keep your tomato plants alive. Scale that up. There are roughly 4 million bug zappers running across America every summer. Do the math on that. We're killing an estimated 71 billion beneficial insects every year and almost no mosquitoes. You're not killing mosquitoes. You're destroying your own backyard ecosystem. And the mosquitoes? They fly right past your zapper and bite you anyway. Because mosquitoes don't hunt with their eyes. They hunt with their nose. Next one. Citronella candles. There was a study published in 1996 that measured this exactly. Citronella candles cut mosquito bites by 42%. Sounds pretty good, right? But here's the part nobody talks about. In that same study, they tested a plain, unscented candle, just a regular paraffin candle. No citronella, no scent, and that cut bites by 24%. So most of what's working isn't the citronella oil at all. It's the heat from the flame scattering your scent, the same principle as the fan, just on a tiny scale. You're paying extra for the smell, but the part that actually works is the heat. And here's the kicker, the protection only reaches about 3 feet from the candle. So unless you're literally hugging that candle, you're not protected. Last one, ultrasonic repellents. Those plug-in devices and clip-on wristbands that supposedly emit a sound that drives mosquitoes away. In 2003, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, the federal government sued a company called Lentec for false advertising. Their ruling was clear. There is no scientific evidence that ultrasonic devices repel mosquitoes. None. So we're not talking about products that just don't work very well. We're talking about products that have been officially declared by the US government to have no scientific basis whatsoever. If you've got one plugged into your wall right now, unplug it. Save the electricity for your fan. Let me be straight with you about what this fan trap doesn't do. It doesn't kill the mosquitoes that are breeding in your yard right now. Here's the truth about mosquito reproduction. A single female lays 100 to 200 eggs at a time. In ideal hot, humid conditions, those eggs can hatch into biting adults in as little as 4 days. In normal weather, it's more like 7 to 10 days. So think about what that means. If you've got an old bucket sitting behind the shed, a clogged gutter, a few flower pot saucers holding water after the last rain, you're not just attracting mosquitoes, you're manufacturing them. Thousands of new mosquitoes every single week, hatching right there in your own backyard. The fan can catch hundreds of them every night. It can't outpace a factory. And there's one more thing the fan can't do. It can't stop the mosquitoes flying over from your neighbor's yard. If they've got standing water on their side of the fence, you're going to keep getting new visitors. The fan only protects the area immediately around it, your patio, your porch, the spot where you sit in the evening. It's a shield, not a force field around your whole property. That's why the fan has to work together with one more step. Here's the full system I run in my own backyard. Step 1. Walk your property every 5 days. Notice I said every 5 days, not weekly, like most articles tell you. Here's why. In hot summer weather, mosquitoes can go from egg to biting adult in just 4 days. If you only check your yard once a week, you've already missed a whole generation. Every 5 days, walk the perimeter. Look for anything holding water. Dump it. Flower pot saucers, clogged gutters, buckets you forgot about, sagging tarps that pooled rainwater, bird baths, pet water bowls, old tires, tree hollows, PVC pipes. Even a bottle cap full of water can breed 200 mosquitoes if you leave it alone for 5 days. I'm not exaggerating. They don't need much. Step 2. For water you can't dump, use BTI dunks. BTI is a naturally occurring soil bacteria. You drop a little donut-shaped tablet into standing water, and within 24 hours, it kills the mosquito larvae inside. Completely safe for people, dogs, cats, fish, birds, and frogs. BTI only targets mosquito larvae and a few small fly species in the same family. It doesn't touch honeybees, butterflies, or any of the other beneficial insects in your yard. A 6-pack runs about $9 at any hardware store. Each dunk lasts about 30 days. One thing nobody tells you about BTI, if the water is murky, dirty, or full of leaves and debris, the BTI loses about half its strength. The organic matter binds to it and pulls it to the bottom where the larvae can't reach it. So if you're treating cloudy water like a rain barrel that hasn't been cleaned in a while, clean out what debris you can first, and follow the product label. You may need to replace the dunk more often than the usual 30 days. It's still cheaper than anything else. So that's the system. Dump every 5 days. But tie the water you can't dump. Run the trap at night. Those 3 steps together hit all 3 stages: the mosquitoes laying eggs, the larvae growing in the water, and the adults already flying around looking for you. So let me bring this all together. Here's the whole system. One $20 box, fan or free, if you've already got one. And here's a number that might surprise you. According to U.S. government data, 54 million American households already own a fan like this. There's a good chance you're one of them. One $3 piece of window screen. One $10 pack of BTI dunks. 10 minutes walking your yard every 5 days. Total cost for the whole summer? Under $35. Compare that to $350, $500, sometimes $1,000 for a professional spraying service that wears off in 3 weeks and has to come back over and over again all season long. This isn't a guess. It's a system backed by research from Michigan State University, the University of Delaware, and rulings from the Federal Trade Commission. I run this trap from May all the way through September. Every morning, I go out and shake the dead mosquitoes off the screen. Takes about 30 seconds. The fan runs all night on about 5 cents of electricity, and my backyard is usable every single evening. No synthetic sprays, no fogging trucks, no invoices in the mail. If you build this trap, do me a favor, come back and tell me about it in the comments. How many mosquitoes were on your screen the first morning? I want to know. I read every single comment. Take care of that yard, and I'll see you in the next one.